Hi, everybody. This is Lee, and I'm talking about an article written by Ajamu Baraka. That Ajamu Baraka was the vice presidential candidate for Green Party presidential candidate Jill Stein during the 2016 race for the White House. And that Ajamu Baraka does come from a military background. He's a former Marine. And like Tulsi Gabbard, he knows the cost of war. Tulsi Gabbard herself has a military background and has seen combat, and so she knows the cost of war, as most military veterans do. Ajamu Baraka has written a series of articles on military and foreign policy in the United States, and that he has called upon the Congressional Black Caucus to return to its original focus, that mission begun by Shirley Chisholm, a founding member of the Congressional Black Caucus, as a leftist progressive organization that promoted the idea of social programs, education, healthcare, things like this, the environment, and then responsible view of foreign policy, certainly a responsible view of militarism. And that Shirley Chisholm's philosophy was very much in line with that of Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Muhammad Ali, among other leaders of long ago civil rights, Black Power era. And that this is where the Congressional Black Caucus started, that we still have legacies from the civil rights era within the Congressional Black Caucus, and even the Black Power movement, such as John Lewis and Bobby Rush, people like this. But that their philosophies have changed, that they have allowed themselves to spend too much time in Washington, D.C., and that perhaps the original mission has been forgotten. Ajamu Baraka has not forgotten. In fact, that he's formed a group. It's called the Black Alliance for Peace. And he has a statement from Black Alliance for Peace: oppose the war on North Korea, reject Trump budget proposal to increase military spending. And so we have someone who has a military background, who has seen combat, who has served this nation, and we have others as well, but focusing on Ajamu Baraka, who is a man, but has nothing to prove in terms of attempting to show people that he is a man, that it's possible to have a position of peace and still be a man. And that's something that perhaps people who have not served, such as Donald Trump, does not understand. And that not only Donald Trump, but other members of Donald Trump's administration who have not served the country in the military, and then also members of the U.S. Congress who have not served this country as a member of the military, that they are talking loud and then sending other people to do the dirty work, that they won't put on a uniform, that they won't pick up the gun and go serve. Other people do their work for them. And so that's the difference. Anyway, I'm going to read this article word for word by Ajamu Baraka, because I think he speaks truth to power and that people should listen. April 27th, 2017. While the Congress debates an appropriation bill this week to keep the government funded for the rest of the year, the Trump administration called all 100 U.S. senators to a meeting to discuss the administration's plans on North Korea. The opportunism of this public relations stunt cannot be more obvious. An important element of any continuous resolution to keep the government funded and eventual budget agreement will have to address, at some point, the obscene demand from the Trump administration to increase the Pentagon's budget by $54 billion. While the corporate media and Democrats have focused on issues of funding for the border wall, the issue of increased military spending is the powerful elephant in the room. To fund the United States war machine, Trump's proposals call for cutbacks in programs that fund education, provide meals to seniors, support for housing, after school tutoring programs, heating assistance, food for poor children, just to name a few of the draconian cuts that will occur. The issue of North Korea and reckless machoism plays so well with the chicken hawks in Congress and the media. This is meant to preempt opposition to the outrageous assault on the agencies and programs still in place that provide a modicum of relief from the inherently brutal consequences of an economy unable to provide a decent, dignified life for millions. The illegal attack on Syria, escalating tensions with Russia, bellicose statements on China, and continued provocations with North Korea are all meant to keep the United States public on a war footing and justify the ongoing theft of public funds to do the turn of over $600 billion that goes straight into the pockets of the 1%. Those of us in the Black Alliance for Peace will not allow ourselves to be manipulated. We demand an end to the lawlessness of the United States and the criminal waste of the people's resources. International law is supposed to govern the conduct of states and funnel any threats to international peace into the mechanisms that have been set up to prevent and resolve grave threats to peace and human rights. Yet the United States continues to act outside the international law with its arbitrary and unilateral actions. For good reason, the United States is now seen by many in the world as the greatest threat to world peace and international law. As a result of its criminal actions, millions have been murdered, states destroyed, and countless people displaced. The first to fight and die are the poor and working people of this country and the nations that are attacked by the United States. We call on members of the Congressional Black Caucus, specifically, and to all members of Congress to reject the Trump proposal to increase military spending. End the madness, stop the United States war machine, and take back our resources and use them for the people.